So here we are in Rishikesh, India, on the bank of the Ganges River at Paramath Niketan Ashram, celebrating the International Yoga Festival. And I'm here with GloriaLatham from British Columbia, Vancouver, Canada. And it's just been really a delight to meet you, Gloria.
Thank you.
And so, Gloria, we've been talking a little bit about your experience. Tell us how you came into yoga.
Sure. I worked as a licensed pharmacist for about 7 years. I was really drawn to work in the field of health and healing. And a few years into it, it just didn't feel right. I wanted to work more preventatively with people, and pharmacy didn't give me the opportunity to do that. And so I opened a health food store and started working with people that were a little more proactive with their health, but then realized after a short period of time that people were using the supplements in the same way they were using medication. They were looking for something outside themselves to heal themselves. They weren't addressing the whole mind-body connection, which is key for true health. And so I became a little disillusioned after doing that for 7 years, and then I dove into yoga. So my first yoga class was with a 15-minute yoga video. I was at a very, very stressful time in my life, and a number of people in my life were encouraging me to try yoga. They had experienced the benefits themselves, and like everybody else, I just kept saying, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time, until I felt so horrible. It was like my last-ditch effort at doing something to help me feel better. And I snuck home from work. I threw on a video. It was a 15-minute video, did it in my living room. And I got up from that 15 minutes and I felt like I'd breathed for the first time in my life. The effect was so profound, and it was so strange because it was a video. And so I immediately got up off the floor and looked for a teacher. I wanted to dive right into training. So at the time, I didn't even know there were different styles of yoga. I really knew nothing. All I knew was that I need this. That's the extent of what I knew. And I didn't want to dabble in it. I wanted to understand it. And the teacher that I happened to know in our community was a Kundalini yoga teacher, who laughed at me when I said I wanted to do the training because she knew I hadn't done any classes.
So your first class, you said you want to do the training.
Yeah. Well, after the first video, I said I wanted to do a training. But she also knew I was a pretty serious individual. She was willing to take me on, and I'm eternally grateful to her. And that's why I'm also very open when students approach me and they say they want to do training, and they ask, how much experience do I need? So based on my own experience, I say nothing, just a deep desire to do this, and that's what I had.
Okay, a deep desire. So let's talk about this transformation that happened to you in the yoga training class, teacher training class.
So I started my training, and it was a great experience. I learned lots of tools to help me manage things better in my life, which is an ongoing practice. As you know, I'll be a student for the rest of my life. And it was a truly beautiful experience. Towards the end of my training, I was really struggling with a lot of the aspects of the training. It was a Kundalini yoga school, which is a beautiful tradition and wonderful community. But I didn't adopt Sikhism, which is said is not a requirement in the training, but there was always a little nudge to try on a turban and visit a gurdwara and things that I just didn't think would be part of the training. And I was born into a Greek Orthodox family, and I figure if someone's got one religion in their life, it's kind of enough, or more than enough, right? And I was feeling a little bit of pressure in the training, and that's the time when I was down in Los Angeles for a business trip to do with my natural pharmacy. and through a wonderful, wonderful man, he brought me to Gurumukh at the end of a long day of work with my husband and his boss. The four of us ended up at Gurumukh's class, and I knew about her. I had been doing her video. My husband and I had practiced her video, and when we got to her studio, I was so excited to meet her. And I went up to her and just said, "Oh, I'd love to take your class." And she just looked at me. She goes, "Well, why don't you?" Well, I was with a vice president of a supplements company and a sales rep, and my husband, who were all, none of us had yoga clothes on. But she just said it with like, "Why wouldn't you? You're here now." So I just turned around and looked at them, and they all just started taking off their socks and rolling up their pants, taking off the business shirt, and we had an amazing experience. But it was a real turning point for me because I'd come from a very dogmatic school, and I went into this class with Gurumukh, and it was a powerful class, as all of Gurumukh's classes are. But at one point in the class, she put on a Beatles song, and that was a big turning point for me, because there was so much joy in the room, and it's like, there's a different way to do this, and so.
Okay.
So you'll see in my classes, I use mantra, I use pranayama, I use a lot that I bring from the Kundalini tradition. But I'm going to throw you a curveball somewhere along the way. It might be a Beatles song, it might be something that's top 40, it might be, but something that will allow people to just experience some joy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And by doing this, I mean, you mentioned to me earlier that you're really looking at making yoga more accessible.
Absolutely.
Please speak to this.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about mantra, for instance. If you bring in people who've never done yoga and bring them into a room and say, we're going to chant today, not everybody's going to go for it. I live in a very open community in Vancouver. I'm in the area of the neighborhood of Kitsilano, and we've been chanting there for years. We talk about chakras all the time. It's not so strange there. But it's not something everybody's going to be comfortable with. And for yourself, I say to people, think about when you're singing in the shower or driving in your car and a great song comes on, you start belting out that song, how good you feel. Chanting has similar aspects and other things. But by allowing people to sing something they're comfortable and familiar with, getting them to mantra becomes an easier next step.
Okay.
If I let them sing a Beatles song, they're gonna, then there's some commonality. It's like, I'm not so trippy and weird and out there that you can't come on a journey with me.
Okay. Okay. And what's been the response of students?
It's wonderful. Yeah. I mean, it's not for everybody. Everybody's gonna find their own way. I always say to people tend to react to Kundalini Yoga as a love-hate thing, and
Why is that?
it does push your buttons, right? It moves a lot of energy, and so. And the styles are very different. When you have in your mind that you're going to come into class and experience a nice, flowing hatha stretchy class, and you come in and we're doing these like fierce, powerful movements, it might not be what you need right now. And that, I have 4 studios in Vancouver, Semper Viva Yoga, and I love Kundalini Yoga, but I know it's not going to be everybody's path. So we offer everything: Yin, Vinyasa, Hatha. There's sort of a gateway for everyone.
Okay. And what's some of the transformation you've seen with your students who come in and?
Well, the things they tell me, and I know the things I experience for myself, is they definitely able to navigate the challenges in life a little more smoothly. It's not that the challenges go away. It's just you're not on this constant roller coaster ride of emotion. Everything just gets hopefully a little smoother, and also just more deeply connected to yourself again, so that you come back home to yourself, right?
Okay. Back home to yourself, and that started the whole journey, going from pharmacy.
Yeah.
And so, you feel like you've answered that initial impulse?
I can't say I'm there. You should never say you're there, because Wayne Dyer says something, and I always think about him, is he says, I try every day to be better than I was yesterday.
Okay.
Something like that. I don't know if that's exactly how he said it, but to me that's the best that we can do, is just wake up every day and try to be better than we were yesterday. So the journey is lifelong.
Beautiful, beautiful. And are folks in Canada experiencing increased stress? I know people in the U.S. are now.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Everywhere, for sure.
Okay, and
Yeah.
so what do you have to say for folks who are experiencing increased stress or fear or whatever?
So one thing that we're really lucky where we live is I look out my windows and I see these majestic mountains, and I'm just 10 blocks from the ocean. So one, get out into nature because it's a powerful healing force. And to do these practices because they give you the tools to live a very full life. We don't want to use these practices to run away and hide behind. We want to use them to be able to enrich all of our relationships, our personal relationships, our work relationships, with our friends, with our family. Yeah.
And do you see that, and you see this happening with your students?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, does it inspire service?
I'd say I hope so, absolutely. I mean, if you can only serve when you feel well, if you feel empty, there's nothing to give. So by filling yourself up first, it's just, that's how I started the studios and what I do. I was just so charged up by how I felt after the practice, like I have to share this. It was just, it's just immediate. So whatever your thing is to share on this journey. Yeah.
Right. And what's new for you, or what's next for you in your unfoldment?
What's next? Right now I'm working a lot on online trainings because I have wonderful opportunities like this where I get to meet students from all over the world. But then there's the distance between, when we get together at a festival or a retreat and then we don't see each other anymore. So I'm just looking for more ways to keep the relationships going.
The relationship with your students?
Yeah.
Online students?
Yeah. Just the community in general. Yeah.
And how is that for a teacher with online students, and how's that working?
It has been so gratifying, and I never thought it would be that we'd be able to build community as much. Actually, I'm launching my next online course. What day is it today? It's the 3rd, in 2 days. And it's really fun because it's about it's called Meditate to Master Your Mind, and the day 1 starts while I'm here in Rishikesh.
Oh, so right, in Rishikesh.
Yeah.
Okay, now this will be broadcast on the International Day of Yoga, and ideally you'll be having more courses coming on after that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how can people find you?
GloriaLatham.com.
GloriaLatham.com. Excellent. So any final words? We're celebrating International Day of Yoga. What does that mean to you that the entire world is celebrating yoga now?
I think it's a beautiful discipline, and discipline will bring you freedom. And if you're going to try yoga, don't just try it once, because you might not land. If someone comes to my class, for the first time, I always give them a first free class, because mentally it's not what they think yoga is going to be. So I want them to have lots of opportunities to find what's going to work for them. So if you try one class, one teacher, and it doesn't suit you, just try again and try again. Find something that connects you back, and also get away from dabbling in it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
It needs to be a daily. I believe that yoga needs to be a daily practice, and if you're only practicing yoga occasionally, it's nothing more than a stretching exercise. Now that doesn't also mean that you have to be in a studio an hour and a half every single day. I understand that's not realistic, but for many years I would unroll my mat and leave it right beside my bed, so the first thing my foot touched when I got up was the mat. So I'd remind myself I need to stop and breathe before I get out. I need to prepare myself. I don't wake up a happy person. My family will vouch for that. I gotta work to get to happy.
Yeah.
And so before I unleash myself onto others, I need to just check in and really go out there with my best self.
Okay. So make yoga a daily practice.
Daily, whatever that is. It could be 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be an hour and a half.
Yeah, a 15-minute video altered
can
your
change
life.
your life.
It can change your life.
It can change your life. It will change your life. Not it can, it will.
Wonderful, Gloria. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Namaste.
Om re do re